Hello everyone. Today we are going to examine liberal humanism versus literary theory. In the first class, we have examined the features of literary theory. In the later classes, we have identified the features of liberal humanism as well. Liberal humanism and literary theory should be understood side by side. Liberal humanism was the critical approach to literature which existed from the very beginning of the literary studies up to the advent of theory. That is the reason why liberal humanism is called theory before theory. So it was a critical approach that existed from the very beginning up to the beginning of what is called a theory. So that is why it is called theory before theory. Another explanation. Liberal humanism refers to the approaches to literature from the era of Plato to new criticism in the early 20th century. You know that Plato existed in the ancient period. From there to new criticism. New criticism was a literary criticism that was prevalent in the early 20th century. It was after new criticism that theory emerged. Liberal humanism stood for a universal humanitarian value system. So when we say that liberal humanism stood for a universal humanitarian value system, we feel that it is really good, it is true, it is standing for something really good, but there are certain problems associated with it. Now listen carefully to what it is given in the red ink. Why there are some problems associated with this universal humanitarian value system. Liberal humanism had its high time during the period of British colonialism all over the world. This means liberal humanism was at its height during the period of British colonialism all over the world. As a result, the essence of universalism they spread in their colonial countries and all over the world was a British upper class value system. So as liberal humanism was very much popular during the period of British colonialism, the British people spread something like British universalism all over the colonial countries they dominated. What they spread was an upper class British value system. Looking from the perspective of those who were ignored, liberal humanist value system was essentially Western, Eurocentric. Eurocentric means it was a value system which gave importance to European values. It was patriarchal, means it was a value system based on male-centeredness, and it was an upper class value system. So that is a problem with liberal humanism. Liberal humanism spread by British was actually a British liberal humanism. It gave importance to British ideas, or from the perspective of those people who were ignored, we may say that it gave importance to Europe, it gave importance to West, it gave importance to upper class values. Several other things were ignored. For example, people from colonial countries like India, Africa, and other countries were ignored. Observe carefully. During the high time of liberal humanism, we considered only literature from England as English literature. During the high time of liberal humanism, we considered only literature from England as English literature. A literary work from India or Africa was not considered as part of accepted list of literature. This accepted list of literature is called canon. So a work from India, a work from Africa, even though it is written in English, it was not considered as part of literary canon, accepted list of literature. So we studied Shakespeare as the greatest dramatist. A similar figure, Kalidasa from India, didn't get the same critical acclaim as Shakespeare. Then literary theory emerged. It entered the scene after 1950s to question all such supremacy. Literary theory helps to reveal how one idea is given supremacy over another in a cultural practice. What was the purpose of literary theory, contrary to liberal humanism? It was liberal humanism was criticized by literary theory. Theory helped to reveal how a particular idea is given supremacy over another. For example, European texts try to give importance to European culture and consider other cultures as inferior to them, especially African Asian cultures. Various strands of various elements of theory like structuralism, deconstruction, psychoanalytic criticism, feminism, postcolonialism, eco-criticism, etc. exposed such attempts to gain supremacy in their respective areas. For example, feminism attacked patriarchy, male-centeredness. Post-colonialism exposed West's supremacy over East, the white's supremacy over the black, etc. Then deconstruction. Deconstruction exposed the claims of universal values, stable meanings in any text. So that was the role of theory in questioning the existing principles of liberal humanism. One of the features of literary theory was that literary theory didn't accept everything easily. Instead, it viewed everything with a doubtful eyes, questioned them, and deconstructed it by close analysis. See this point, stop and think carefully. An English textbook taught in India before 1950s included only literary texts from England. Now take the poetry text you studied in the second semester and see the list of poems. You can see that the new book included poems written in English from all parts of the world, including works from countries which were once under the colonial rule. The earlier textbook was taught based on the tenets of liberal humanism. The new textbook included works from all English literatures because theory questioned the superiority of the dominant language and culture. Thank you.